Should I buy now or should I wait? That's the topic we'll be talking about today. Welcome back to another episode of Mortgage Monday. Again, we have Francisco Cuza, who's our special guest today. Francisco, thank you for coming again and joining us on this video.
Awesome, Vincent. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's my pleasure. So today we'll be talking about, should I buy now or should I wait? So some of you are first-time home buyers out there, or some of you are renting a property right now and thinking of buying a home for the first time. So today we'll discuss a little bit about what are some reasons why, if you're thinking, you should go ahead and pull the trigger and start the process of buying a home.
Let me hit you up with a couple of questions as an agent, right? Regarding the subject of buying versus rent.
Okay.
You know, we're talking now to the person that they're on the fence, they want to buy, but they don't know how and they don't know what the market looks like. Can you tell us a little bit about what the market is looking like today and what they can expect moving forward?
Absolutely. So everybody knows, anybody and everybody out there knows a little bit about the market right now, right? So the market has been very, very hot. Obviously, with the interest rates the way that they were, dropping so low, it motivated a lot of people to go ahead and get pre-approved to buy a home. And so there's been a lot of competition out on the market for the past, say, year or so now. What we're seeing now, though, is homes are staying on the market just a little bit longer now. You know, sellers are coming into the game a little bit later, and they're pricing their homes just a little bit higher than what they normally would. So what this is causing now is buyers are a little bit more educated now. They're not panic buying like they were when the interest rates were as low as they were at the very beginning. So homes are sitting on the markets just a little bit longer now. So we're seeing a few price decreases on some of these homes. And instead of homes going the first hour that they hit the market or the first 2 or 3 days that they hit the market, now we're seeing the homes going under contract in about 7 to 10 days. So, and that's just an average number, just what I've been seeing and what I've been noticing. But yeah, so I feel like now if you're thinking of buying a home, now's the opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of these low interest rates that are out there.
So that's awesome. So it sounds like what you're telling me and the customers looking is that the market is softening. So basically we have a little bit more inventory now, it sounds like, and yet we still have pretty low interest rates. So that creates a perfect opportunity for the person that's on the fence that wants to buy a home. This is a perfect opportunity to go in and make their first purchase.
Agreed.
Perfect.
Yep. Agreed. And so we'll go into a little bit more further details of, you know, what's the reasons why taking advantage of buying a home might be beneficial now, right, versus waiting a year from now, because there's no telling what's going to happen in the market in a year, right?
Today is what, August 30th, 2021. Rates are still at a very favorable pricing, let's say, so that the first-time home buyer can take advantage of very low interest rates. When you're renting, you're really paying your landlord's mortgage.
Exactly.
So the landlord typically is going to have a mortgage. It's just a matter of who are you paying it down for. You're paying it down for yourself, or you're paying it down for your landlord.
Exactly. And sometimes when you're paying your landlord, right, you say that the landlord has a mortgage that he has to pay. Well, that mortgage is going to be the market rate, right? So you're, as a renter, might even be paying more for a house than you would for an actual, if you were buying your own house. Reason is because the landlord still has a mortgage to pay, and you have to pay more than what he's paying because he still has to make a profit off of that house, correct?
Right. The landlord is in the it is in the business of basically providing housing. So in order for him to provide housing, him or her to provide housing, what happens is you have to pay their expenses. Their expenses are going to be principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and perhaps HOA. So what happens is they are basically paying their mortgage note if they have a mortgage note, taxes, insurance, and HOA. So you have to pay all that and a little bit extra. So that's included in your monthly rent already.
Yeah.
So by you doing it on your own, then you're basically now paying down increasing equity in your home, and you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for somebody else.
Yeah, and let's say 5 years from now, you decide you want to sell this house to upgrade into a new home, or you just want to sell the house, you want to sell the house to upgrade into a new home. Then you already have equity built into this house, or everything that you've put into this house, you have the possibility of getting back.
That's correct.
Versus you renting for 5 years, you have no equity in that property at all, and all that money just went towards your landlord.
And that's where you as an agent come in and help the borrower and the buyer know, what price point are you actually purchasing this property. You want to buy not necessarily very top of the market, because you want to give them a good cushion so that they can actually gain equity capture. So Vincent, now that we talked a little bit about, from a lender's perspective, why the person that's on the fence to buy now should buy now, let's talk a little bit about what that looks like from an agent's perspective. What are you seeing your buyers complaining about when they're renting?
Okay, so say for instance somebody reaches out to me, says, "Hey Vincent, we're thinking about buying." So of course I'm going to ask a few questions, right? Well, do you guys live in a house right now? Do you live in an apartment? What might be some of the reasons why you're thinking of buying? Now they might tell me, "You know what? We're living in an apartment. The apartment's way too small." Right? Mm-hmm. We've had so many issues with this apartment. Say, for instance, the maintenance department. We're calling the office over and over and over every week. They're not fixing the issues that we're having. We've got leaks in the house. We might have whatever the case, a broken toilet. Faucet's not working correctly in the bathtub, in the sink. So there's all these issues, right? And they say, "Hey, we're ready to buy a home." Okay, well, what's the first thing that you need to do? First thing that I always say is, okay, well, when is your lease up, right? If they're living in an apartment. Okay, well, my lease might be up in 6 months. Okay, so are you prepared now? If you want to buy within 6 months and we find you a house within 30 days, are you willing to pay, the remainder of the lease that you have, right? So that's one thing that you have to think about when you're renting an apartment also, right? Some of the other things that I hear is, there might be noisy neighbors. There might be, you don't know who your neighbor is. Your neighbors are always having parties next door. You know how thin apartment walls are. You hear everything that goes on in those apartments. Mm-hmm. So those are a few things that I hear from certain people that contact me and say they're ready to get out of their apartment. So if this is you and you're considering leaving the apartment to buy a home, keep some of the things that I was talking about in mind, especially about how much more you have in your lease, right? Because if you have a certain amount of money saved up, you got to keep in mind that they might penalize you for the remainder of those months that you have within that contract at the apartment complex, or even if you're renting a house. A few other things that I hear is, say if you're renting a house and not an apartment, well, the landlord might be doing the same thing, right? You might have problems with the house. You might have roof leaks. You might have same things with your faucets, your plumbing, your electrical might not be working properly. So these things can get frustrating, right? But if you own your own home, yeah, the expenses do come out of your pocket. However, you can take care of these things right away as soon as they happen, right? Sometimes whenever you're renting a home also, you can't personalize this home the way that you want it, right? You might be able to paint the walls, but you can't do any kind of upgrades to your kitchen cabinets, to your restroom, anything like that, right? So, but if you do own your own home, yeah, you can make the home obviously however you want, to your liking. Change the cabinets, change the countertops, change the bathrooms. I mean, this is your home, so you can customize it the way that you want. So a lot of times you're limited whenever you're renting a home from a landlord.
Hey, Vincent, those are all great points. Think to wrap it up, I think basically, when is the perfect time to buy? I think it's when you're ready. The market conditions are never actually going to be 100% perfect. Your conditions might be 100% perfect. And then you have to work with somebody that you know and trust that are going to help you, guide you through the process. So the perfect time to buy is now if you're on the fence to buy.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I feel like these were great points that we brought up to, for anybody out there that's listening, that's on the fence right now of wanting to buy a home. So I want to thank everybody for who's watched this video. Thank you so much, Francisco. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Again, we'll do these shows on Mondays. We call them Mortgage Mondays. And we hope to see y'all again soon. If anybody has any questions or comments that you would like to add, feel free to put a comment on the YouTube page or our Facebook page. That'll give us maybe some topics to talk about, or if, like I said, if you have any questions that you need answered, we might be able to answer those questions for you.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you.